You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, oops, I'm not in frame, so let's fix that right there. Good morning and hello, kids. Welcome to Season 3 and episode number 141 of The Daily Beaver here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023, and there is some light rain right now here at the Beaver Lodge. And speaking of rain, it's raining, men. Yes, it's raining, men, because today is Forrest Grump's birthday. And yesterday he got an early birthday present.
I did not know it was his birthday.
Yes, it is. Happy birthday, motherfucker. Okay, I'm your host. Sorry, Mr. Grizzly's mom. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Today we have a celebratory Wednesday morning Beaver bite for you. Making me glad that I'm not you. Oh, yes. Ronald Rumproast. Yes. Had his arraignment, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but there's a lot of other things in the headlines too. But before we do that, we have to ask our cher Monsieur Grizzly, how are you doing, and how is your mental health? You are looking very suave with your handlebar moustache.
Well, thank you, Mr. Beaver. I am another sleepless night. Vivid dreams, wake up in a sweat. Anxiety does that to you. So I'm the mental health jury's been out for a few days right now. It's like I'm not in a bad place, but I honestly can't tell you where I am, if that makes any sense. I'm too tired to think. As long as I can get through the workday and get my job done and all the clients are satisfied at the end of the day, then I am happy. So that's what it boils down to, is I am happy.
Well, so long as you're happy, I'm happy. And you know who else is happy, Mr. Grizzly?
No, who made that be?
Well, a friend of ours is watching today, has joined us, our old pal
Oh,
Jake.
hey, Jake, how you doing, brother? There
Yeah,
you
he's
are. I
here
see
this
you.
morning. And he's here this morning. And then I tuned in to his show
Yeah, I was
yesterday
watching last night too.
during the Trump arraignment. Yeah. And well, it seems that I'm not the only one that's happy.
You got some video for me, do you?
Oh, Mr. Grizzly. Well, just if you will see there.
Yeah, that looks like a
Yeah.
happy fella right there.
And ooh, and oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a joyous occasion right there.
he's a happy guy.
Well, when the tyrant in chief, I was debating on going for the full curl this morning, and I can't seem to get it straight. It's uneven, and I'm supposed to do something different each day. I did 2 days of the full curl, so I got to do something different today. And I tried to get for the pointy smile, and it just wouldn't stay there. It was like, nope, wouldn't do it. So I've got a partial curl. This is, I don't know, what would you call this? I don't know. Can't.
It's just not
No, it's
behaving.
misbehaving.
That's what we're
It's the
calling it.
misbehaving mustache. But all for a good
Yeah,
cause. So,
all for a good cause. Please tell the kids and cubs what the
well,
good
the
cause
good
is.
cause is this is the great shave of 2023. So I started it last Monday, and I trimmed the beard on the air, and each day I had a slightly different style. The idea, of course, being that we would raise some money for Cornerstone Housing for Women, which is a local women's shelter here in Centertown, community of Ottawa, which was horribly affected by both the pandemic and the occupation. And I thought, let's see what we can do to help out. And here's the thing: I was asking for $100 a day, just because it was a nice round figure. But as it turns out, a donation of $62 can house and feed somebody for a day. That's what it takes to operate the shelter. So if you can donate $62, that would be great. Look, if you can only donate $20, that's great too, because every single penny counts. These are good people who do good work in our community, and well, in the community that I reside in. And I know there's a few people who tune into this show, both the YouTube version and the audio version, who do reside here in Centertown and the nation's capital. And thank you for your support. Thank you for helping out women in need. You do realize that in the city of Ottawa, there are 1,000 women a year that become homeless. That's really troublesome to me that anybody could become homeless, but
Mhm,
it's 1,000 women a year become
mhm.
homeless in Ottawa. And that's a stat that's hardly ever reported on. So it's like we're talking really vulnerable people here. So if I have to look silly for a few days to help, goad people into donating, I'll do it. I'm fine with it. Hey, this mustache that
Mhm.
I'm currently sporting was sponsored for $500. So, it started Friday, Saturday, technically Saturday to this Friday. I'll be shaving it off this Friday. 6 days, $500, basically, almost $100 a day. We're doing Monday to Friday, but I can't take the weekend off. It's not like I can remove it and put it back. So yeah, from it's basically Monday to Friday, but I decided to shave the rats I had hanging off my face the other day. If anybody tuned into Friday's show, and let's raise some good money. $500 alone for this mustache. I think we're near the $2,000 mark, but I'm not 100% sure for that. Yeah, I think. And
Yes.
my goal was, we wanted to try and raise 1,000, and we've surpassed that. So thank each and every one of you. I really do genuinely appreciate you donating your hard-earned money to a very worthy cause. So I thank you. My hat is off to you, and soon my
Yeah.
mustache will
Oh,
be off to
wonderful.
you as well.
I'm going back on stage tonight after a
Oh
couple days
yes.
off, so yeah, this has to come off later too. And yesterday, we worked in the garden and gave myself
That
callus.
looks like a blister, dude.
Yeah, well, it started as a callus and then it became a really bad blister. We're trying to build a garden, so we were doing the old timey thing, like with an axe, trying to cut down roots and as we're building a trench to put in a fence. So, well, let's just put it this way. I don't think I would have made that great a pioneer.
You don't know.
I
You've
mean,
never had to do this before. It might be different if you had to do it, right?
yeah, I mean, we're getting it done, and we're getting it done rather well. And I mean, for both of us, it is a first time,
Mm.
obviously. Uh, so you know what? We're actually doing pretty well. But oh man, uh, is that my stage hand? No, it's not my stage hand, but it is my
Stage hand.
tennis racket hand.
Ooh, racket hand.
Yeah, it's my tennis racket hand. So there's going to be no tennis for a little bit. But yeah, we were taking the axe to stuff and cutting roots and digging out rocks and building a trench. And
Taking the
it was
old
kind of
out of
good, but
country. Oh no, that's a different
yeah,
song, isn't it? Sorry.
but that's a different song, yes. But that was one of those situations there where you know, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night hits, and because you've been out all day. So yeah, so I've been actually up since because I only get like about 5.5 hours to wake up. I've been up since 3 something this morning.
Well, that's an early morning, sir.
Yes, I'm gonna need a nap at some point this afternoon if I'm gonna be on stage till 9:30.
So you remember back in January when I was saying, I know this is really off topic, but it's like it's a squirrel moment, and I got to get out of the way real quick. And it's real simple. Remember back in January, I said we're going to hit 40 million population in Canada by July, by Canada Day, right? So this
Oh yeah,
was January's population, 39,394,059, and this is the population as of this morning at 6:33 a.m.
ooh,
39,992,645. So the population has grown by what? 500,000, 500,000 people in 5 months. So you
there you
watch and
go.
see by Canada Day, we'll be over the 40 million mark. So yay, Canada! That's a new milestone for us. 40 million. We'll be there through. We'll be there
Yeah,
real soon. Real soon. It's like okay, I'm a numbers geek when it comes to certain things. It's like when you're driving in your car and I look down and I go, "Ooh, I just rolled over 24,000 kilometers." I did that on the way to Kingston on Saturday. I was like, "Woo, exciting." This, when it hits 40 million, will be exciting for me. And I'm not an accountant and I'm terrible at mathematics, but I appreciate numbers and milestones and things like that. So, it's it's a moment I'm gonna geek out
I
on, and
like
that's the
this.
only thing I geek out on because I'm not really into geeky stuff for the most part. I'm not much of a gamer. I never read the Lord of the Rings or watched the movies or Flowers in the Attic or any of that or the Harry Potter. None of that stuff appeals to me at all. Game of Thrones, nope, don't give a shit. Doesn't appeal to me. Everybody's like, but it's political, and you'd love the. Nope, I don't care for that sort of thing. It just doesn't do it for me. That and the fact that each time I tried to watch the 4 episodes I got through a Game of Thrones, it was a little bit too much incestuary for me, quite frankly. A lot of weird shit going on in that program. Makes me wonder what the writer's mindset is. I'm like, you're writing a lot about brothers and sisters doing nasty things to one another way too often. I'm not making an accusation, but I am saying that's kind of weird, don't you think?
I never watched a single episode, so I don't know
I got
anything
through
about it.
4. That was all I could do. It did nothing for me.
All I know is that there was a red wedding, and somewhere near the end, everybody lost their minds because somebody that was one way turned out to be a
Wasn't the
whole other
red
way.
wedding a Twilight thing?
That's all I know.
Wasn't the red
Pardon?
wedding the Twilight thing?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I didn't
Or the
I didn't
Windsor
watch
School.
that either. So
I don't know either. Sorry. Yep. Nope. It could be because I didn't watch Twilight either. So it completely passed me by. Mohan, by the way, I have to tell you, I'm appreciating that pun. The more it's settling.
which one is that?
I love puns. Words are my life. So
That says,
yeah, that's what gloves and gardens are for. Yeah, I know. I did the stupid man thing. I was outside and I was doing something, and then my sweetie said, "I need to go to the hardware store to pick up a different type of shovel if I'm going to, we're going to do this trench." And so he said, "Can you help with this thing?" Because there was a stump back. So I just like picked it up and start working at it rather than going inside. And then when it happened, it's like, oh well, I'm there now. rather than going wearing a glove to not make it worse. And so yeah, I did the yeah. Turns out that the fabulous can be typical men too.
Wow.
I'm new here. I've never done this thing before.
Well, first time for everything, right?
Now I
First
know.
time for everything.
Next time I'll do better. Trust me. Speaking of, we've been speaking a lot about Consterpiece theater of late. So before we get to some Trump stuff, we have a development. Remember that Pierre Poilievre was going to be filibustering the budget in order to block it.
Yeah, that didn't turn out very well.
Right? And he was going to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. The man who loves the sound of his own voice was going to talk and talk and talk and talk until the budget did not pass, except the government, because filibusters in Canada are different than the United States. The government sort of
it's like, okay, it's been 5 hours. That's enough for you. Get out of here.
So 5 hours, that's enough, right? Yeah. And then after that, he came out and said that
he came out finally.
Going to.
Oh no, sorry, you meant something else altogether.
No, not that
something
way.
Different.
No, not that way. Jeez, no. Gee, please. Boy, you can keep it.
It is Pride Month after all.
Yeah, but some people you can really care to have
keep
on
them
your
in
team.
the closet, is what you're saying.
Boy, you can keep it. Yeah. That sad little thing you call the heart before you start. Boy, you can keep it.
Okay.
It's a song. Alex Newell, actually, who just won a Tony, by the way.
Cool.
So there. You was on Glee, played Unique, if anybody watched Glee, the last few seasons of Glee. So yeah, the Alex Newell just won a Tony. Just so happens. But anyway, Pierre then said, we're prepared to work all summer to fix this budget, this inflationary budget. We're going to work all summer, we'll make it happen.
Not.
Trudeau needs to basically abandon this budget and, basically install ours instead. He needs to meet these two conditions.
Pull this leg and it plays jingle bells, okay? Because we know he's pulling our leg on that one. You know what he's going to do all summer? Campaign to be prime minister. Which is not something you can do.
Yep. He's going to keep talking and talking, and he's going to fight all summer long until this budget until he blocks this budget, until Trudeau meets his two conditions. He's really going to do that. Oh, Mr. Grizzly, he's going to just keep.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's about what I figured. Yep. Yeah.
CTV News, please. Mr. Grizzly, read the headline.
Freeland's budget bill passes House after Poilievre pledges to block it.
And what is the date?
June 8th, 2023.
The federal budget implementation bill passed the House of Commons on Thursday after days of Conservative attempts to block it. By a vote of 177 to 146, Bill C-47, the Budget Implementation Act 2023, number 1 as it's titled, passed the final stage in the House with support from the Liberals and the NDP, while the Conservative and Bloc Québécois coalition, tell me does this exist, voted nay. It's now off to the Senate, where a pre-study of the omnibus legislation is already underway. There's been some murmurs about Peter Poppenjay using his Senate caucus to block it, but there's only 15 of them now. So have fun with that. Thank you, Prime Minister, for the Senate reform. So yeah, basically he yelled, and Chrystia Freeland just said, there you go, eat this. So now apparently he's going to be campaigning on all summer long to get, I guess, everybody to come back to pass an amendment to the budget implementation bill so they can turn it into the Conservative budget.
He had 900 amendments. 900 amendments. 900. Did he not try and rewrite the entire budget? 900 amendments? Basically. 700 were thrown out, if memory serves. Or was it 200 thrown out and 700 anyway, it doesn't matter. The budget passed.
C'est dans le passé. It's in the past, man.
Well, they keep coming out and campaigning against $10 a day childcare constantly. They're like, we want to give Canadians real choice. No. What you are proposing is a tax cut for the wealthy and a one-time payment which means privatization of childcare, which it largely is already anyway. I mean, come on, who's kidding who? Is for profit and for massive profit, which means that single mother or single father or single parent, because I'm not going to judge, who has been scraping and scrimping and saving and trying to get the budget under control so that they could get their child to daycare while they go out and earn a living, because even though you are entitled up to a year off after you have a baby, it's EI unless you work for the federal government, where you get, what is it, a 90% top up or something like that? I can't remember. Either way, EI is the max EI really raise a child on. So if you're a single parent, yes, you have the time entitled, but most people go back to work relatively quickly because they just can't afford to stay home. So now they have to put their child in daycare, and, you know, $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month versus $10 a day, you know, $200 a month is a lot more affordable than $1,500. I mean, I'm sure it's still $200, right? That you have to spend, but it's a $1,300 savings on average, if not more in some cases, depending upon where you live. And he wants to get rid of it because he doesn't give a shit about people. He only cares about two things. Remember what it is, folks. What are the two things he cares about the most in this world? Money and power. That's it. He cares about nothing but those two things: how to get him, how to keep him, how to take away your rights, how to remove your freedoms. And to that end, sir, Bill C-311, protecting the unborn from injury or death. They want to put a law around this. The petitioners feel that justice requires that an attacker who abuses a pregnant woman and her preborn child be sentenced accordingly. This is the first step in putting a law around abortion.
Yeah, we addressed that when it came out on our show. Yep, it's the thin edge of the wedge. It's the same thing as sex selective abortions or whatnot. It's just trying to create a category that has people say, "Oh my God, people want to find out that they're having a girl or a boy," and then they go to the doctor. "Oh, I wanted to have a baby, but if it wasn't for this, because it's a girl, I don't want it. Because it's a boy, I don't want it. So please give me an abortion." Said nobody in the history ever. They just go and say, "I want an abortion."
Yeah.
Right? It's like not a thing. And then if you ever went there and did that, no doctor would do that.
Well, in all likelihood, I can't say no doctor would, but there's probably a few that would, but they would lose their license pretty quickly to practice medicine if people found it.
Yeah.
The minute that went public. I'm going to say that
that is already not allowed.
It's not allowed. So this is
right. So you don't need a special law, right? It's like the barbaric snitch line, right? If somebody is doing something barbaric to someone, we already have a snitch line. It's called 911. You don't need a specific.
You don't need a racist law. It's already there,
right? So I mean, it's one of these things again. So but I mean that is the goal, right? That is the goal, and you got to remember the last time they had a vote on that kind of thing. I think it was like 89 out of 119 or something, or 113 voted. I mean, it's the overwhelming majority of the caucus that will vote to support this. So when he's saying, "Oh well, it's just a private member's bill, and it's
bullshit.
We don't support it as a party," that the overwhelming majority of that party is voting for it. So it's just a backdoor way. It's just a backdoor way. Now, interesting about that budget vote, according to the article, by the time the vote took place, Poilievre was not in the chamber, opting to vote virtually instead. And the Conservatives are currently fighting against the move to make some of virtual parliament permanent.
But didn't he just vote virtually?
Yes, so as to not be in the House when he...
Pot, can you introduce you to the
champion
kettle?
Fight. When his champion fight didn't go his way, so that there's no video of that. Him being in the House when the count goes down, so that the Liberals can... Because, the way he uses House of Commons clips, If he had been in the House for the vote, if I were the Liberals, I'd be picking that one too. He said he would fight, he'd fight, and then, oh, look at him when the vote comes down sitting. So he made sure he wasn't in the House for that.
Linda's comment here is dead bang on accurate. Linda, you just keep hitting home runs. That bill is saying that it's not important that violence has been done to a woman's body. It's only important that it's been done to her as an incubation tool. A broodmare.
Ooh.
George Carlin talked about that 30 years ago. It's all true.
Dang.
It's all true. They don't care. They don't care about women. They don't even care. They say they're pro-life. Bullshit. Pro-life, then why do you want to reduce the minimum wage? Why do you want to smash unions? Why do you want to take away pharmacare, dental care, and $10 a day childcare? If you were actually pro-life, you would support every single one of those things. You don't give a shit about life. You only care about controlling women's bodies. Period.
Grizzly, I think we have to give Linda our very first branch drop. Boom.
There you go, Linda.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Send that to me.
I've been waiting to
send
use
that to me so I can do it without the webpage and just the photo.
Okay, I've been waiting for that to use that one. Thank you, DaCosta, for that. And I think maybe Savage Wiener suggested the
good idea
concept of branch drop.
Yeah. Because we're not dropping these microphones. These are $350 a piece. I'm not dropping this. Okay.
Exactly. All right. So stay in the House for the vote. Performance theater, womp, and I don't know how much it costs to run Parliament per hour again, but 5 times that is what we all paid for him to have clips that he'll be able to use all summer long. And you paid for that. It's a party expense, but he found a clever way to shuffle that bill onto you so that you'll pay for that. Every party does it, but nobody does it like Conservatives. Oh, boy. All right. What else have we got for you today, kitties? Let me see if I need... Oh, there it is. There are notes. All right. Okay, the RCMP has confirmed that it has opened investigations into the foreign interference allegations. Michael Duham, who is the commissioner, I'm not sure, is he the... I didn't hear the announcement that they had named a full-fledged commissioner, so I don't know if he is the interim or he is the actual commissioner now. I missed the announcement. Said the RCMP has opened an investigation of reported allegation of intimidation and targeting the Honourable Michael Chong and has contacted the Commission of Canada's elections regarding other allegations that have come to light that fall under the mandate and has offered us assistance. So they're offering assistance to elections officials that are probing allegations that China singled out NDP MP Jenny Kwan and former Conservative Party of Canada leader Aaron O'Toole for some special treatment. He said, the commissioner said, I'll be honest, and this was before testimony before the public, the PROC committee. I forget what the name of it is. Sorry, PROC committee. I'll be honest, what we're facing for the last couple of years in foreign interference is something that we were not facing in years or didn't know as much as we know today. So it's a matter of adjusting our strategy as well as to counter what we're seeing today. He testified that the RCMP is pursuing over 100 inquiries into foreign interference, from everything from election meddling to intellectual property theft, and that they have moved against 7 or 8 police stations operated by the Chinese Communist Party in Canada. There are 2 in Quebec that they seem to be having a little more difficulty with, because in those ones it seems that there are Canadians involved, either wittingly or through coercion. So they're having a little more difficulty dismantling those 2.
Let's talk about those stations for a couple seconds, shall we? I had a conversation the other day on Twitter, back and forth, with somebody who dropped it after I pointed out to them that, well, Harper tied us to via the secret FIPA deal for 31 years to China.
Mhm.
So we're there for another 20 years, I believe, or 15 or 18, whatever it is. We're tied to China for a number of years. Number one. Number two, those stations have been around since Harper's days. And number three, so they're, you can point the finger of blame at Trudeau all you want, but they've been here since before his time. And that started under Harper when he signed the FIPA deal with China in secret because he didn't want people to know that he was giving away our sovereignty, largely. Number one. Number two, those stations, it's not just in Canada. They're in 53 countries.
Right. The United States is reporting having them too now.
France, UK, Spain, Germany. They're all over Europe. Basically, the entire G7 and any other country that they feel there's a large Chinese diaspora, including the United States of America. So you're being ridiculous when you keep blaming Trudeau for something that, hey, look, I'll give him shit that he's not doing enough to crack down on it. I do realize, though, that he does have his hands tied to a certain degree because of FIPA. And that's the problem. Harper and his con government created this situation. They built the infrastructure that built this.
Mm-hmm.
I know that our government would like to get them out of the country altogether, but there's a very careful amount of stick handling they have to do to make it happen. Because otherwise, China can screw us over thanks to the signed in secret FIPA deal.
Mm-hmm. The terms of which we still don't know.
We don't know.
Yep. So as it pertains to Michael Chong specifically, the RCMP also testified that while Chong was targeted in 2021, they only found out about it when the story appeared in the Globe and Mail last month, just as did the minister, just as did the prime minister. So everybody's just finding it out. So this is lending more and more credence to the fact that this did not get out. Right. And then David Morrison, who is now the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, but in 2021, he was in service as the interim national security advisor to the Prime Minister. And I believe he is one of the two people that wrote one of the election reports from either the 2019 or 2021 to say whether or not there was any interference. Because Rosenberg was the first one. Who was at the head of the Trudeau Foundation, and I believe David Morrison, wrote the previous one. If my memory serves correctly, because that name rung a bell was when I heard it. But he was testifying, and he said that he did receive a memo at that time that was sketching out a plot to target an MP, but no specific MP was named. And he said, it was a memorandum for action. It was a report for awareness, because. And in testimony, he said that by the time this type of information gets into a memo, it has been looked at, it has been investigated, it wouldn't just be a throwaway. So if it gets to me and it's in a memo, it's definitely not the type of thing that I'm going to run to the Prime Minister with. Because there would have been action taken and I'd be reading something else in this memo. Right?
Yep.
So, there you go. It's a mess. It's a mess.
It is.
But I think this Susan Delacourt described the Prime Minister doing the ERRE thing, the election reform thing, as the "you broke it, you bought it" method. Well, here you go. So it seems that the other parties are going to be serious, based on even the Conservative, based on first takes. But the Bloc seems to be taking it very, very seriously.
Well, this is good.
Yeah,
this is good.
There's I was listening to something on primetime politics, and they had their MP Normandin out there, and she was already making some suggestions of people that they would put on the list, and it doesn't seem, I mean, I don't know tons about these people, but on the surface, it seems like reasonable people. We'll find out more as the press digs and finds out about associations, because that's what we're doing now. But
I think we need to do a little bit more digging into the reasoning why behind Poilievre saying we need to look into China, Beijing's interference. He never says China, never. He only says Beijing, number one. And he talks about how the Trudeau Foundation is Beijing funded. It received one donation from a citizen from China, and that donation for $140,000 was returned. But he neglects to talk about that, of course. But the moment that NDP leader Jagmeet Singh mentioned that we should look into interference from every other nation, including Russia and perhaps even the United States of America, what did Skippy say to that? No, we're just going to look into Beijing. Why is that? Why won't he allow them to look into Russian interference? And why is it he only wants to go back the last five years with China?
Well, we're going to find out if that still holds, because the Prime Minister also gave them to, give us input on the person and give us input on the terms of reference. And that's where the battle's going to happen, I'm sure. If there's going to be a battle, that's where it's going to happen. The parties will be able to agree on the terms of reference. So
let them just implode like they did with election reform.
Indeed. We'll see. I mean, no, they're going to have to come up with something.
Yes.
Because this is too serious. After all this stuff.
Yeah. I'm just curious to find out what it's going to be.
But yeah.
Like, what's it going to be, right?
Right. But we're going to see what's going to happen with the terms of reference. And because if there's any battle, if there's any disagreement on that, that's what's going to make the headlines.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How much more time do we have, Mr. Grizzly?
About 5 minutes-ish.
Okay.
So a little tight on time.
Yeah. So
it's been a busy week for me in the office.
Yep.
Sorry, I apologize.
Yep. So very quickly through some front stuff. It seems that he is having trouble finding counsel. So he was able to go to arraignment because his lawyer, Chris Keyes, happens to be a member of the bar in Florida, but two of his counsel, Jim Trustee and the other one, whose name I can't remember, resigned upon and a lot of his other lawyers, when people are saying that, this the government trying to get them, a lot of the people that testified in the grand jury against him are some of the lawyers that tried to trick into signing stuff and whatnot, like Evan Corcoran and all of them. So again, just as it's, it's his own words, it's going to be his own lawyers as well testifying against him. Allegedly, Jack Smith sat in the front row and did not take his eyes off Trump the entire time. So,
I saw that.
War criminal guy, trying to see if there's going to be any hint. Trump did his usual thing where he sat there looking there grumpy and holding his arms, soothing himself, giving himself a nice big hug, because he's such a big boy, aren't you?
Put his big boy panties on.
Yeah. The press was held incommunicado for many hours. They got led up to the 13th floor. There's a second level of security beyond the entrance that they had to go through. And then they went to the courtroom. Secret Service and U.S. Marshals were present. And Trump, who's normally very fidgety, did not move about to look behind him to see what was going on in the courtroom.
Don't, that's the old Satchel Paige, right? Don't look back. Something might be gaining on you.
Exactly. The proceeding lasted less than an hour, with Forrest Grump's lawyer entering the not guilty plea in typical Trump fashion.
I didn't do it.
We most certainly enter a plea of not guilty. Just not guilty will do, darling. Okay, poodle. But his lawyer did that. Walt Nauta was not arraigned, as he did not have local counsel eligible to represent him in the Southern District of Florida yet. He will be arraigned on the 27th at 9 a.m. Only his counsel needs to appear for that, but Walt Nauta, who is Frumpy's valet and box mover guy, was there with him, I guess, for moral support.
Is that what they're calling it now?
So Trumpy can't seem to find any new lawyers whatsoever, despite the number of times he spent interviewing, and then even the ones that want to take it because they think will be a delicious fee. Their law firms are saying, no, you're not. Maybe it's because a lot of his lawyers kept on being disbarred, having to testify against them, or possibly getting tried for jail.
Or, that and not getting paid.
And not getting paid. Yes, that doesn't help. So yeah, he's like reduced to interviewing people like Benedict Prune, who was indicted in 2008 for money laundering before charges were dropped, but is currently facing disbarment for contempt of court in a civil suit. Oh well, sucks to be you. Do we have a show, Mr. Grizzly? We like to end on.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
We love to end on teas. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope you love listening to us because we love making this for you and we love giving you the juicy stuff. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless, so let your peeps know about us because democracy is something that you do. Please keep on donating to Cornerstone Housing for Women for the Mr. Grizzly's Big Shave of 2023. And if you got a little left over, do think of the Red Cross, because our brothers and sisters pretty much throughout the entire country are dealing with the country burning. So, help will be needed. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated, so please be generous, and we'd love to hear from you. Reach us on Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, our Twitter feed at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, or leave some comments on our Twitter feeds. Not our Twitter feed, our YouTube page, because we're now bad boys. Why not also subscribe? Hey, if you like a good,
slapped.
Yeah. We got knocked down. We got up again. Why not subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media YouTube channel if you are there? That helps us big time. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, if you're watching, you might see a squiggly appear right by Mr. Grizzly's head. And that will bring you to our emergency hydration fund, which we use to hire staff, Guinness, Caesar, hot chocolate, cafe.
Pay for these things.
And that one that appeared just down there is to get you to our pod page to subscribe to make sure that you get something from us as soon as it's hot off the bandwidth. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us?
Yeah. I'm trying not to celebrate too much the downfall of a terrible person. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to be introspective about how the fact is that I am joyous in the occasion of the downfall of a terrible person. You're not supposed to, like, sort of on paper, you shouldn't be joyous about anybody's downfall. But once in a blue moon, when a horrible human being who's done horrible things their entire lives finally gets their comeuppance, it's human nature to feel happy and rejoice in the fact that justice will be served. Finally. So don't feel too guilty if you are rejoicing, such as I am, that the Mango Mussolini, the shiitake short stack, will finally get his comeuppance. That small-fingered vulgarian that he is. Finally getting his comeuppance.
President Pumpkinhead going down. It's true. Celebrating the fact that the wheels of justice are about to grind infinitely fine. We waited a long time for this.
Oh, yeah.
This is your return on investment.
Yep.
And if you happen to enjoy your return on investment with a glass of champagne, I'm not going to begrudge you.
Not in the least, my friends. Not in the least.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
You got it, Pontiac.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Oh, we have a nice little Easter egg, Mr. Grizzly. Guess who's back? Milos Raonic, after 2 years off the courts. He's back. He's healthy. He apparently stayed away until he knew he was back to his old form. First match, played against number 39 in the world, 6-3, 6-4. Boom. That's how you do it.
Well, I stayed up last night. I wasn't that late, mind you, to watch the Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights, victorious, 9-3 victory over Florida. And look, I'm not going to knock Florida at all. Vegas is just a much better team, period. They're just a much better team. They were firing on all cylinders, and they were scoring like crazy, 9-3 last night.
Yeah. They were up by 5 after 2.
Yeah, and that third goal by Florida was an own goal.
Jeez.
Vegas scored on themselves. Yeah. So just to give you an idea of how strong that team is. So congratulations to Mark Stone from Winnipeg, who used to play for the Ottawa Senators, who was a star with the Ottawa Senators and was traded away to the Vegas Golden Knights. He became team captain after a couple of seasons. And is victorious at the age of 31 as a Stanley Cup champion. So,
and became the first person since 1922 to score a hat trick in a game-changing Stanley Cup match. 1 goal in each period.
And he had like 3 stabs at that third goal too, an empty netter. And when he got it, he was pretty thrilled. The place went nuts. And hey, Vegas has become a hockey town.
Yep.
That's a statement I never thought I would make in my life, but it has become I don't know if you saw any of the coverage. There must have been 50,000 people outside the rink.
Mm-hmm.
There was a massive crowd out there celebrating. Yeah. So way to go, Vegas.
Well,
it's good for the league.
Yeah.
I want the Stanley Cup back in Canada, just like every other Canadian, but it's good for the league.
It's good for the league.
It grows the sport.
Yeah. Vegas Knights, 6-year-old franchise, gets the cup. Sports teams were like not hanging out in Vegas because of all the betting and stuff, but now because it's gone now everywhere, now it's there. And you know, the Oakland A's are moving there. It's long been a curling city, actually. Continental Cup.
Oh, I didn't know
held
that.
there. Yeah, it's a big place. Yeah. So there you go. All right, and also Jamal Murray from the NBA, Denver Nuggets from Kitchener. They won the championship. So, and he apparently scored like 20 points per game, like all games of that series. So he was a key.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying as much attention to the NBA final this year. I usually watch it. This year, I don't know, kind of a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on over the Miami Heat. Yeah, I did listen. The Toronto Raptors were in the first round, and I wasn't even aware until they were eliminated. We didn't even talk about it on the show. It just it just happened.
There's just a lot to cover.
Lots of news. All right.
Okay.
That was a long Easter egg. There you go, kids.
It was. See ya.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager